Hey guys, tonight we're stepping into a world where silk rustles through cold stone corridors. Secrets echo off chapel walls, and one wrong look or kiss can get your head lopped off. It's 1542, and you're Catherine Howard, beautiful, young, and about to be Queen of England. Sounds magical, doesn't it? Except for the part where survival is unlikely. Before you settle in, take a moment to like and subscribe if you genuinely enjoy this content. Drop your city and the local time in the comments. I'm curious who's joining me on this midnight march into Tudor doom. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft hum, and let's ease into this journey together. You're born around 1523 or 1524, though no one can pinpoint the exact date. Record-keeping for noble girls was as flimsy as the threadbare tapestries in old manor halls. Your father, Lord Edmund Howard, is a younger son of the Duke of Norfolk, which sounds impressive until you realize he's broke, incompetent, and barely scraping by. Your mother, Jocasta Culpepper, comes from better stock, giving you courtly connections that will shape your future. Still, you're no in Bullen. Not yet. You grow up in a chaotic household, one of many children with a father who's often absent, drunk, bankrupt, or all three. But your family name, Howard, carries weight. It's one of England's most powerful, even if your immediate kin are a mess. Your uncle, Thomas Howard, Duke of Norfolk, is a top advisor to the king, a golden ticket buried under layers of dysfunction and debt. As a child, you're sent to live with your step-grandmother, Agnes Tilney, the Dowager Duchess of Norfolk. It's like an elite boarding school with a sketchy curriculum. You're meant to learn courtly manners, music, reading, and sewing, but the place feels more like a hormonal summer camp. The girls sleep dormitory style in a large room with little supervision, whispering gossip, stealing kisses, and dodging overstepping music tutors. This is where your reputation begins, not as a temptress, but as a flirt, glowing with curiosity and charm, unaware of how dangerous attention can be in a Tudor court. You're bright, musical, cheerful, and craving warmth. Not bookish like some queens, not cold like others, just open and yearning, a bullseye in this world. One music master, Henry VIII, gives you piano lessons and more that no curriculum should include. You're maybe 13. He's a grown man. It's gross, but back then, no one speaks of grooming or consent. People whisper, snicker, and let it slide. Then comes Francis Derham, another man who takes more than he should. There are letters, promises, rumors you called each other husband and wife. Whether it was legal or a twisted teen fantasy is still debated. Was it love? Coercion? Scholars argue endlessly, but these experiences shape how you'll be judged later. Not as a teenager caught in adult games, but as a manipulative temptress. The truth is messy, eh? You spend your days at the Duchess's estate in Lambeth, across from Westminster, walking gardens in embroidered gloves, practicing your lute, giggling with other girls, and hiding dangerous secrets under your mattress. You're a product of a crumbling aristocracy, groomed for greatness without protection. Meanwhile, England is in flux. Henry VIII has divorced Catherine of Aragon, executed in Bullen, your cousin, by the way, and lost Jane Seymour in childbirth. Now he's on wife number 4, and of Cleves, and it's not going well. He calls her a Flanders mare. Ouch. This is your world. Unstable queens, unpredictable kings, a court that devours the naive. Then your uncle, the Duke of Norfolk, pulls strings. And of Cleves' marriage is failing, and Henry's hunting for fresh companionship. The Duke sees you, now 15 or 16, and thinks, why not Catherine? You're summoned to court as a lady-in-waiting to queen, and a big step up, but more importantly, a move into Henry's orbit. He notices. Oh, he notices. The first time he sees you, you're glowing in soft silks, cheeks flushed from dancing, laughter trailing like perfume. He's 49, gout-ridden, morbidly obese, and paranoid, but you're springtime incarnate, a walking rose garden. He's hooked. You're confused, flattered, maybe horrified, but you know better than to say no to a king. The trap is set. You haven't worn the crown yet, but the walls are closing in. You feel the rush of jewels, power, and being wanted. It feels like love, but it's a spotlight, and in Henry's court a spotlight burns. You arrive at court breathless, dizzy, swept up in horns, perfume, and silk. A teenager in a palace designed to disorient. You're surrounded by ghost-like servants, billowing tapestries, and courtiers eyeing you as living currency, your value tied to beauty and your uncle's ambitions. You serve Queen Anne of Cleves, who keeps to herself, speaks little English, and endures a barely functional marriage. Henry finds her unattractive. Her touch repels him. Her laugh grates. Their wedding night a disaster, he practically announced to the Privy Council. You do your duty. Help the Queen dress, attend her at meals, smile sweetly. But you also dance, sing, and laugh, alive in a court obsessed with control. The king notices you glide across the floor during a masque, red hair shimmering, eyes mischievous. You don't approach him, no one dares, but he asks about you. Who's the pretty girl? Is she noble? Spoken for? Soon, you're summoned for a walk with the king. He's older than you imagined, his face bloated, breath stale, leg ulcer-reeking. Yet he's charming in a theatrical, heavy-footed way, comparing your cheeks to roses, calling you his little rose without a thorn. It's grotesque and thrilling. You laugh, curtsy, and play the part too well. In weeks, Henry's obsessed. You're invited to private dinners, given gowns too fine for a lady-in-waiting. Queen Anne notices, but says nothing. She values her head. The annulment comes swiftly, humiliatingly. Henry declares the marriage unconsummated, therefore invalid, and agrees, securing a generous settlement and calling him her beloved brother. She plays the game flawlessly. You, it seems, win. Henry proposes, or rather declares. You smile, nod, and let yourself be dressed in velvet and pearls. The wedding is rushed, held in a private chapel with few witnesses, no grand fanfare, just a teenage girl becoming queen overnight, trying not to tremble. At 17 or 18, you're Queen of England, wearing scarlet velvet and golden embroidery, hair braided with rubies. The crown digs into your temples heavier than expected. Everything changes. You're served, not serving. Everyone bows, calls you majesty, and watches you like serpents. Henry showers you with gems, gowns, properties, calling you his jewel, dove, salvation. You smile until your cheeks hurt, but you're lonely, terrifyingly so. Your ladies-in-waiting, chosen by your Howard relatives, are spies, not confidants. You're expected to be obedient, pious, fertile, cheerful. Henry is mercurial, delighted by her laughter one day, brooding the next. His leg oozes. He needs help dressing. He's no fairy tale knight, just a decaying monarch clinging to youth through you. You perform your duties, but no pregnancy comes. In Tudor England, that's dangerous. A queen without heirs is on borrowed time. The people love you at first. Young, vibrant, a contrast to in a Cleves. But whispers start. You're too flirtatious, reckless. Your Lambeth girlhood, your liaisons, linger. Your cousin in Bullen's execution haunts you. She, too, was dazzling, flirtatious, brought low by infidelity charges. You know how her story ended. Still, you crave warmth. Henry's affection is performative, possessive. He wants a doll, not a wife. You want something real, something not reeking of rot and power. That's when Thomas Culpeper reappears, a handsome, witty, dangerous member of the king's privy chamber. You've noticed him for months, letting your hand linger when passing him a cup. You both know this dance, but acting on it is a gamble with your life. Yet at 17 or 18, the need for love is sharp, sharp as the blade waiting ahead. Queenship is a performance you can't stop, even in tears. Show hunger, desire, imperfection, and they'll pounce. Your queenly apartments have high ceilings, gold-threaded tapestries, and windows catching pale English light. You hold court, receive gifts, smile through ceremonies. But alone, the walls press in, your pulse loud in the silence. You start making mistakes. A glance held too long, a question too sweet. A chambermaid, Joan Bulmer from her Lambeth days, allowed too much freedom because she knows too much. She could ruin you, so you make her a lady-in-waiting, not out of trust but fear. Then there's Thomas Culpepper, dashing and smug, leaning too close, calling you your grace with a smirk. You flirt, not meaning to, but the electricity is real, a craving for something human in a hollow, scripted world. You write foolish, heartfelt letters, calling him beloved, hinting at secret meetings. One, delivered by Lady Rochford, says, "I long to see you, and I trust you more than any living man," signed, "Yours as long as life endures." It's beautiful, tragic, a written confession. There are nighttime visits, arranged by Lady Rochford, who learned nothing from serving and bullying. Maybe nothing physical happens. Maybe it does. Historians argue endlessly. Was it love? Lust? Two people clinging to something human? There's no hard proof. Only suspicion and betrayal. You're reckless, not boldly political like Elizabeth I, but like a teenager who believes in second chances. In the Tudor court, that's fatal. Henry, oblivious at first, parades you like a prize, kissing your hand, calling you his rose without a thorn, until enemies gag. But Archbishop Cranmer sniffs something rotten. Culpepper's past, rape accusations, buried but lingering, makes him dangerous. Your own past resurfaces when Francis Derham arrives, seeking a position, assuming you'll reward his silence. You panic, making him your secretary to contain him, but he talks to the wrong people. Cranmer tells Henry your virginity may not have been intact when you married, a betrayal he sees as treason. Henry cries, calls it slander, then orders an investigation. Letters, testimonies, confessions surface. You're still playing queen, ordering gowns, smiling for portraits, sneaking glances at Culpepper, unaware your secrets are unraveling. Rumors swirl. You and Culpepper carved initials into a chapel pew. No one's found it, but it captures the mood, doomed love wrapped in velvet. The court shifts. Smiles tighten, laughter fades, noblemen hush when you pass. Joan Bulmer fumbles nervously. Lady Rochford drops Culpepper's name. A summons to the Privy Council makes your stomach drop. Cranmer has delivered a letter to Henry, suggesting you weren't innocent and may not be faithful. Henry's reaction is volatile, doting one morning, absent by evening, canceling court to brood. You're confined, not arrested, but no longer free. Guards block exits. Your ladies are dismissed. Derham is seized, interrogated, and folds, confessing to Lambeth kisses and promises. It's not enough for a death sentence. Adultery as queen is the fatal line. They go for Culpepper. His chambers are ransacked, your letters found. He admits to meetings, feelings, but denies physicality, clinging to a technicality. It won't matter. In your apartments, time dissolves. Tapestries suffocate, sleep vanishes, food loses taste. You replay every mistake, wondering which betrayed you. Guards arrive, strip your title, and lead you out like a criminal. The palace recoils, servants look away. You're taken to Sion House, a holding location that feels like prison. Barred windows, seized letters, no visitors. You break silently, pacing, tearing your sleeves, whispering your own name to remember who you are. Interrogations peel you apart. You admit to Derham, calling it a mistake, saying he forced you, that you were too young. Historians debate if it's truth or survival. Confessing premarital relations means your marriage was invalid. Henry needs no more. He doesn't speak to you, just issues orders. Your title stripped, household dissolved, Howard's imprisoned. Your uncle vanishes from court. Hope fades as guards grow curt. Meals shrink, and you learn Culpepper and Derham face execution. Derham hanged, drawn, and quartered. Culpepper beheaded. You're moved to the Tower of London, bundled onto a barge, ferried down the Thames like contraband. The tower looms, grim and pale. You enter as a prisoner, lodged in Bullen's old apartments, her ghost pressing against you. Comforts dwindle. Servants avoid your eyes, whispering of the king's tears. Culpepper and Derham are dead. Lady Rochford arrested, possibly mad. Your clothes are replaced with gray wool, no jewels. You're told you'll be executed for treason. The words land like a velvet hammer. You nod, sit, and feel the floor sway. You don't sleep, staring at the ceiling, remembering Lambeth's music room, Derham's grin, Culpeper's touch, the king's rare smile. You ask for a wooden block to practice kneeling, teaching your body not to tremble. You write letters to your family, trying to be remembered. Your execution is set for February 13th, 1542. You sleep like a child, exhausted. You wake before dawn, dress in crimson velvet, hair tied back, neck exposed. The Tower Green is misty, the crowd small, just officials, guards, a young executioner, and a low block. Straw waits to soak your blood. You expected more spectacle, but it's disturbingly small. You walk slowly, knees unsteady, determined to show dignity. They ask for final words. Kneeling, your gown pooling like a wilted rose, you say softly, "I die a queen, but I would rather die the wife of Culpeper." A gasp ripples through the crowd. Not pious, not apologetic, but your truth. You lay your head on the block, smelling old blood. The breeze lifts your hair, the ground presses your knees. You hear boots shift, steel drag, a heavy breath. You close your eyes, picturing Lambeth's gardens, Culpeper's smirk, a life where you weren't a pawn. You wonder if anyone will say your name in 100 years. The blade falls. They say it's quick, clean, your head dropping silently into the straw. Some say your body jerked. Others say it's stilled like a blown-out candle. You're buried without a tomb in St. Peter ad Vinculus Chapel, near in Bullen, two queens who loved too loudly. Henry erases you. Your name stripped, coat of arms removed, paintings taken down. He marries Catherine Parr, who survives by staying quiet. But you're not gone. Whispers persist. Ladies tell their daughters of the young queen who died for love. Servants' claims, screams, echo near the chapel. A play emerges, maybe about you, but your ghost takes the stage. History writes you back. Not just Henry's fifth wife, but Catherine Howard, the teen queen who dared love under a sharpened crown. The court moves on, scrubbing the block, stitching gowns for the next queen. That's how Henry works. Like a man shopping for something that fits, discarding one when it rips, stains, or speaks too much, the palace doesn't mourn. It reorganizes. You, however, are not so easily erased. Even in death, you linger. In the days following your execution, an unease settles in the royal corridors. People speak more softly. Ladies cross themselves more often. Henry retreats deeper into isolation, emerging only for state matters. He doesn't smile or sing. He spends hours staring at tapestries or muttering about betrayal and his profound loneliness. He insists he was tricked, deceived by a girl who feigned purity. The old guard nods, murmurs sympathies, and moves on. But others remember you differently. Servants whisper about your laughter in the garden, head thrown back, eyes alight with something fierce, young, and unbroken. They recall how your presence warmed a room, how even the grumpiest chambermaids smiled as you passed. Some of your ladies in waiting keep your trinkets, hair combs, silk scraps, dried flowers from a stroll along the Thames, tucked in drawers. Late at night, they say the Queen's gallery feels different, the air shifting, a cold pressing against the spine. Some hear light footsteps, like a girl in slippers, always running. But before we dive into ghost stories, let's consider the surviving players of your sharp, short tragedy. First, the Howard family, meant to rise with you, a niece on the throne, cousins and uncles pulling strings. Instead, they fall hard. Your uncle, the powerful Duke of Norfolk, distances himself swiftly, denouncing you, claiming ignorance, begging mercy. He survives barely. Other Howards aren't so lucky. Arrested, some executed, their name a cautionary whisper for years. Then there's Lady Rochford, Jane Bullen, your accomplice in secret meetings with Culpeper. She's tried soon after your death, but she's unraveling, ranting about shadows and claiming you speak to her in dreams, calling herself a puppet in a ghostly play. Tudor law traditionally spares the insane from execution, but Parliament makes an exception for her. She dies on the same block as you, her story buried deeper. Historians still debate whether her madness was guilt or a performance. And Thomas Culpeper, who left little behind. A confession of half-truths, claiming you loved him, but nothing physical happened, just letters, glances, and stolen meetings heavy with unspoken longing. He tried to save himself. It didn't work. Executed days before you, buried in a common graveyard. He's forgotten by most, but not by you. Historians argue over whether you were lovers in body or heart, whether it was physical or emotional treason. Does it matter? In Henry's world, the crime was what you felt. Feeling anything for someone else was enough. A strange rumor persists. Culpeper had a locket with a lock of red gold hair. Yours, perhaps. Whether he wore it from love or fear is unknown. It's never found after his execution, stolen by a guard or buried with him, pressed to his chest. Henry moves on with exhausting speed, marrying Catherine Parr a year later. She's your opposite, calm, educated, mature, and careful, hiding any trace of herself that might cause trouble. She survives, but even she knows one misstep could make her the next name in the Tower's legend. They compare her to you silently, unfairly. She's the caution, you're the warning. Your story slips into folklore as the unhappy queen, a morality tale for noble daughters. Don't fall for flattery, don't trust letters, don't forget your place. But you never had a place. Born into a family that tossed you to wolves, raised in a home without walls, thrust into a marriage where affection was a weapon, you were punished for seeking something genuine in a world designed to crush softness. You never had a chance. That's what haunts most, not your crimes, but how inevitable it all was. How could a girl like you survive? You couldn't. Your story becomes a ritual, retold by scholars, twisted by playwrights, whispered by girls in candlelit rooms wondering if they'd have done differently. They wouldn't have. You didn't die just for love. You died because you were young, not allowed to be anything else. Your name lingers in broken syllables. Not everyone mourns you openly, but among women, there's an uneasy reverence. You're a reminder of what happens when a girl in silk steps out of line, a lesson, a warning stitched into the air. Yet, your story endures, too strange, too sudden, too soaked in glamour and grief, like a candle burning at both ends, flaring bright before the dark. People repeat odd details. How you practiced placing your head on the block, wore red for martyrdom, clutched a prayer book until the leather tore. True or not, they feel true, and in Tudor gossip, that's enough. The court tries to erase you, confiscating letters, trinkets, rewriting records. Catherine Howard, faithless wife, executed for treason. That's Henry's version, but it doesn't stick. People remember your laugh, your grace, your terrifying brilliance. You weren't like the others, not a diplomat like Catherine of Aragon, a fox like in Boleyn, or a saint like Jane Seymour. You were alive, radiantly, recklessly so, and the court couldn't handle that in a queen. What if at 13, someone had noticed? What if at Lambeth, someone had said, "This isn't love, you're being used"? What if your family had protected you instead of pushing you like a pawn? What if Henry had chosen another? What if Culpeper had walked away? The Tudor court offered no clean choices, only variations of danger. You danced into the fire, eyes open, but no one asked if you knew the rules. Scholars debate whether you were a groomed victim or a cunning flirt who played the king. You were both and neither. A teenager, not a child, not a woman, surviving a world that treated innocence as a crime and experience as treason. The truth lies in the messy middle, refusing to be neat. That's why your story haunts. After your execution, staff report footsteps in the corridor outside your rooms. Light like slippered feet, always before dawn. Some see a blur of red vanish down the hallway. Others refuse to sleep there. The room is sealed for maintenance, Tudor code for fear. Your ghost is born, the screaming queen. Tower tour guides tell of your spirit running to the chapel, begging for mercy. It's theatrical, perhaps unfair to reduce you to a haunted hallway, but it fits. You are always running toward love, danger, freedom, even if it killed you. Your name drifts into literature. Poems, ballads, some tragic, some scandalous, some wrong. A century later, you're a cautionary drama, The girl who rose too high and fell too fast. But in secret court corners, some speak of you with grief. The queen who laughed too loudly, wrote love letters in a palace of knives, reminded everyone of joy before it was crushed. Henry never repents publicly, but some say in his final months, fat, sick, slipping toward death, he dreams of you, murmurs your name. Once ordered a locket burned, but spared it. Your name echoes softly, never silenced, always present. Playwrights, historians, schoolgirls pause on it, wondering what it felt like to be chosen, worship destroyed. Despite the crown's efforts, you're unforgettable. Most of your letters were seized, destroyed, but fragments survive. One line, possibly yours, reads, "My heart is with you always in this place where I cannot be." Scholars debate its authenticity, but feels like you. What was it like to be you, Catherine Howard, queen on a knife's edge, every smile potential evidence? To sleep with that weight, to love in a world where emotion was treason. You kept writing to Culpeper, even as things unraveled. Why? Why trust Lady Rochford? Why not run? Why never beg Henry for mercy? Some say pride. Others say you knew he'd decided. One account claims you said, "If I must die, I will die standing." True or not, it stuck, woven into ballads and schoolbooks. Henry wanted you as the villain, but you became unforgettable. The court moves on with Catherine Parr, tidier, quieter. But your name lingers, especially among women who understand the machinery that crushed you. Smiling when you want to scream, charming while judged, surviving through silence. You weren't the only one, just the one who didn't escape. Your legacy shifts. Victorians cast you as a tragic romantic. The 20th century sees you as a victim of power and abuse. Today, you defy tropes, too messy for neat labels. Your name appears in marriage advice columns. Don't be a Catherine Howard. Ironic, since you barely had a chance to be a wife. Novels, TV dramas, and musicals retell you. Clever, naive, tragic, loyal. They argue your motives, but every version ends the same. On the block in that gown with a line, real or imagined, "I'd die a queen, but I would rather die the wife of Culpeper." It haunts because it's about being seen in a world that traded women like property. Scholars resurrect you through footnotes, reframing you as tragedy, not scandal. They ask, what were the power dynamics? How much agency did you have? You're a case study, a teenage queen navigating a firestorm without armor. Your story mirrors modern questions. What happens when a girl is punished for being too much? Your letters echo late-night texts, your banishment a kind of cancellation, your scrutiny a timeless judgment. Ghost tours at the tower keep you alive, guides dimming lanterns to tell of the teen queen's betrayal, your spirit running to the chapel. Some visitors laugh, others shiver. A tourist claims you brushed past her, a cool wind smelling of roses. A young employee sees a red-haired girl in Tudor dress vanish near an exit. A prank, a trick of light, or maybe you won't rest. Some historians argue you were never legally queen. Your marriage annulled over lies about your past. Others insist you were crowned, addressed as majesty, and that's enough. You're immortalized in rhyme. Divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. The second beheaded. It's catchy but flattens you. You were no syllable but a chaotic, warm, vulnerable paragraph. A girl threading through a royal machine. A musical gives you a voice, rhinestone-clad, singing to be more than a wife, a punchline. Audiences cheer because they want to hear you, grieve you, wonder what might have been. You mattered, not for laws or wars, but for emotion, messy, human, caught in power's machinery. You drift through time in whispers, footsteps, spotlights, refusing to vanish. Fragile legacies endure, and you, Catherine Howard, linger like perfume in a locked room, impossible to erase. Your rise was dizzying, from a teenager behind Queen and of Cleves to Henry's obsession, Queen in months. No time to grow or recover. You performed until pretending was survival. Culpeper wasn't a perfect love, charming but flawed, with a buried past. You weren't plotting treason, just seeking something human. When secrets surfaced, Henry's fury chose you, as the scapegoat. He wept, or so a servant claimed, but signed your warrant without a glance. You weren't given a trial, just a race to bury his shame. Defenders whispered questions. Why only you punished so harshly? Why a girl with no power treated as a threat? You weren't executed for betrayal, but to erase Henry's humiliation. Yet you slipped through history's cracks, in misattributed paintings, doomed youth poems, scholars' papers. You remain human, a teenage queen who made wrong choices because the right ones were never there. Henry feels at the moment the letter lands, a cracked wax seal, Cranmer's careful accusations, unchaste pre-contract adultery. He stares at the ink, leg throbbing, silence heavy. No shouting, just a burned hole in his vision. You've hurt him, or he feels hurt, and that becomes truth. He retreats, appetite gone, bed untouched. Some say he weeps, animalistic sobs echoing. Others say he whispers your name like a sour prayer. Fury comes cold and deadly. He orders your life unraveled, letters seized, witnesses summoned, without seeing you. You're already gone in his mind, the source of his shame, and Henry doesn't do shame. He transforms it into destruction. You broke his illusion, so he breaks you. Questioned, pressed, your words twisted into justification for blood. A small part of him hesitates, stung by memories, your scarlet dance, garden laughter, oh whispered my lion. But he turns them into deceit, convincing himself you and your Howards planned it all. He calls it treason, and you're doomed. In your chamber, crownless, you watch the candle melt, hoping for a letter, a chance. Nothing comes. Henry's performance of wounded power demands your end, and the court complies, leaving you to face the block alone, standing unforgettable. Hashtag the life and tragedy of Catherine Howard. Step into the shadows of Tudor England, where survival is a gamble and the stakes are deadly. If this tale captivates you, consider liking and subscribing, and share your city and local time in the comments. I'm eager to know who's joining this journey into the past. Picture a world of flickering candlelight and whispered secrets. You're born around 1523 or 1524, though records for noble girls were as fragile as worn tapestries. Your father, Lord Edmund Howard, a younger son of the Duke of Norfolk, carries a grand title but little else, broke, inept, and often absent. Your mother, Jocasta Culpeper, brings stronger lineage, weaving courtly connections into your future. Yet, you're no and Bullen. Not yet. Your childhood is chaos, one of many siblings in a household where your father is drunk, bankrupt, or both. The Howard name, though, is a powerhouse in England, despite your family's disarray. Your uncle, Thomas Howard, Duke of Norfolk, advises the king, a hidden ace amid the dysfunction. As a young girl, you're sent to your step-grandmother, Agnes Tilney, the Dowager Duchess of Norfolk. Her estate is like a prestigious academy with a dubious syllabus. You're meant to master courtly graces, music, reading, sewing, but feels more like a reckless summer camp. Girls sleep in a shared dormitory, barely supervised, trading gossip and stolen kisses while evading predatory tutors. Here, your reputation takes shape, not as a seductress, but a vibrant flirt, brimming with charm and unaware of the dangers in a Tudor court. You're lively, musical, and warm, not scholarly or aloof, but open-hearted, a target in this ruthless world. At around 13, your music tutor, Henry Mannix, crosses lines no teacher should, exploiting his position. It's disturbing, but in that era, terms like grooming or consent are unspoken. Whispers and snickers replace accountability. Then comes Francis Derham, another who takes too much, leaving letters, promises, and rumors of secret marriage. Whether real or a youthful fantasy is debated. Was it love or coercion? Historians argue, but these moments cast you later as a cunning temptress, though the reality is far more tangled. At the Duchess's Lambeth estate, across from Westminster, you stroll gardens in embroidered gloves, play the lute, laugh with friends, and hide risky secrets. You're shaped by a decaying aristocracy, primed for greatness but unguarded. England, meanwhile, churns with turmoil. Henry VIII has divorced Catherine of Aragon, executed your cousin and Boleyn, and lost Jane Seymour to childbirth. Now, his fourth wife, Anne of Cleves, fails to spark his interest. He calls her a Flanders mare. In this world of volatile queens and erratic kings, your uncle sees opportunity. Anne of Cleves' marriage crumbles, and Henry seeks new companionship. At 15 or 16, you're summoned to court as Anne's lady-in-waiting, a leap into the king's orbit. He notices you, radiant in silks, cheeks flushed from dancing, laughter like a melody. At 49, Henry is gout-ridden, obese, and paranoid, but to him, you're a living springtime. He's captivated. You're flattered, perhaps horrified, but defying a king isn't an option. The trap springs shut. Court dazzles and disorients. A teenager amid ghostly servants, swaying tapestries, and courtiers who see you as currency, valued for beauty and your uncle's ambitions. You serve Anne of Cleves, who, isolated by language and a failing marriage, endures Henry's disdain. You perform your duties, dressing the queen, attending meals, smiling politely, but your vibrancy shines. Dancing and singing, you stand out in a court obsessed with restraint. Henry watches, enchanted by your red hair and mischievous eyes during a mask. He inquires about you, and soon you're walking with him. His bloated face, stale breath, and reeking leg ulcer betray his age, yet his theatrical charm calls you his rose without a thorn. It's thrilling and grotesque. Within weeks, Henry's obsession grows. You're gifted lavish gowns and private dinners. Anne of Cleves sees but stays silent, valuing survival. Her marriage is annulled swiftly. Henry declares it unconsummated, and she agrees, securing a generous settlement and calling him her brother. You appear to triumph. Henry declares you'll marry, no choice offered. You nod, draped in velvet and pearls, wed in a quiet chapel with few witnesses. At 17 or 18, you're Queen of England, your ruby-adorned crown heavier than expected. The court transforms. You're no longer a servant, but served, called Majesty by serpent-eyed courtiers. Henry lavishes you with jewels, gowns, and titles like Jewel and Salvation. You smile until it aches, but loneliness gnaws. Your Howard-appointed ladies are spies, not friends. You must be obedient, pious, fertile, cheerful, yet Henry's moods swing wildly. His oozing leg and frail body is stark contrast to your youth. No pregnancy comes, a perilous failure in Tudor England. At first, the public adores your vibrancy, a stark contrast to Anne of Cleves. But whispers grow. You're too flirtatious, reckless. Your Lambeth past and in Boleyn's fate loom large. You crave genuine warmth, not Henry's possessive displays. Enter Thomas Culpeper, a charming, dangerous courtier. You've noticed him lingering over shared moments. At 17 or 18, the pull of love is sharp, and queenship demands a flawless performance. A single misstep invites ruin. Your apartments, with their golden tapestries and pale light, host ceremonies, but solitude suffocates. You err, a glance too long, a word too sweet. Joan Bulmer, a Lambeth confidant who knows your secrets, becomes a lady-in-waiting, not from trust but fear. Culpeper's smirks and close whispers ignite a dangerous spark. You write reckless, heartfelt letters, one delivered by Lady Rochford. I long to see you, and trust you more than any man, signed, yours as long as life endures. Secret meetings follow, arranged by Rochford, who ignores in Boleyn's fate. Whether physical or not, the risk is lethal. Love, lust, or human connection, it's all forbidden. Your recklessness is youthful, not strategic, born of hope for second chances. Henry, initially oblivious, flaunts you, repeating rose without a thorn, until it grates. But Archbishop Cranmer senses scandal. Culpeper's buried past, rape accusations, resurfaces, and Francis Derham reappears, seeking favor and threatening exposure. You make him secretary to silence him, but he speaks carelessly. Cranmer informs Henry your virginity may not have been intact. A betrayal deemed treason. Henry weeps, denies it, then orders an investigation. Letters and confessions emerge. You play queen, unaware, until the court shifts. Smiles tighten, voices hush. Joan Bulmer fumbles. Rochford slips Culpepper's name. A privy council summons chills you. Cranmer's letter accuses you of infidelity. Henry's mood swings from doting to distant, canceling court to brood. You're confined, guards blocking exits, ladies dismissed. Derham confesses to Lambeth promises, not enough for execution. Adultery as queen is the fatal charge. Culpepper's chambers yield your letters. He admits feelings but denies more. It's futile. Time blurs in your apartments. Tapestries oppressive, sleep and appetite gone. Guards strip your title, escort you to sign house. A prison in all but name. Barred windows, seized letters, no visitors. You pace, tear your sleeves, whisper your name to hold on to yourself. Interrogations strip you bare. You admit to Derham's coercion, a youthful mistake. Confessing premarital relations voids your marriage. Henry needs no more. He issues orders. Title revoked. Household dissolved. Howard's jailed. Hope fades with curt guards and meager meals. Culpepper and Derham face brutal deaths. Derham drawn and quartered. Culpepper beheaded. Ferried to the Tower of London, you enter in Bullen's old rooms, her presence lingering. Comforts vanish. Servants avoid your gaze. You're given gray wool, no jewels. Execution for treason is declared. You nod, the words heavy, the floor unsteady. Sleepless, you recall Lambeth, Culpepper, Henry's smile. You practice kneeling on a wooden block, seeking dignity. Letters to your family plead for remembrance. On February 12th, 1542, you sleep exhausted. At dawn, you don crimson velvet, hair tied back, neck bared. The Tower Green is misty, the crowd sparse. Officials guards a young executioner a low block. Straw waits for your blood. You walk, knees trembling, resolved to be poised. Ask for final words. You kneel, gown pooling, and say, I die a queen, but I would rather die the wife of Culpepper. The crowd gasps, your truth, unapologetic. You rest your head on the block, its metallic scent sharp. A breeze lifts your hair, boots shift, steel whispers. You close your eyes, seeing Lambeth's gardens, Culpepper smile, a life unplayed. You wonder if your name will echo in a century. The blade falls, swift and clean, your head dropping in a straw. Some say your body twitched. Others, it stilled like a snuffed flame. Buried without a marker near in Bullen and St. Peter Advincula, you're erased. Name banned, arms removed, portraits gone. Henry weds Catherine Parr, who survives through silence. Yet you linger. Whispers tell of a queen who died for love. Servants hear screams near the chapel. A play, perhaps yours, haunts the stage. History reclaims you. Not merely Henry's fifth wife, but Catherine Howard, the young queen who loved boldly beneath a deadly crown. The court moves on, cleaning the block, sewing gowns for the next queen. That's Henry's way. First as a tragic heroine, then a symbol of resistance, now a figure of empathy, a teenage girl swallowed by a system too rigid to bend. By the 21st century, you've been portrayed by countless actresses, sung by pop stars in corsets, and reimagined in stories that ask harder questions. Not was she guilty, but why was she so alone? Not did she love him, but what choices did she have? Your story forces us to confront the architecture of blame, the weight of expectation, the violence of performance, and the cost of shining too brightly in a world too dark. You weren't the first woman punished for love, nor the last, but you turned punishment into presence, into memory, into something that refuses to stay buried. Your name, once erased, now echoes, growing louder with every retelling. Queens who die young, violently, quietly, don't become statues. They become questions, unfinished thoughts, a pause mid-sentence. That's where you live, Catherine, in the gaps of history, the soft spots. They didn't crown you for your future, but because you fit a moment, young, charming, allegedly untouched. You were Henry's fifth attempt at hope, not a partner or advisor, but a cure, a symbol, a story he told about himself. That he could still inspire love, summon spring from winter. But when you stepped off script, you fell fast. Your servants, who saw you without the crown, remember you as a girl. You sang when you thought no one listened, pressed flowers into your prayer book, love clove, rosemary, lemon balm, and vibrant red. Not courtly maroon, but a living red that said, I am here. After you're gone, the rooms feel colder. Your downfall shattered more than your life. The Howards, once entrenched in Tudor politics, collapse. Your uncle, the Duke of Norfolk, renounces you to survive, cutting off the infected limb. Your cousin Thomas is imprisoned. Ladies from your household are interrogated, tortured, ruined. Lady Rochford, Jane Boleyn, who arranged your meetings with Culpeper, meets the block days after you. Haunted by her role in Boleyn's fall, she's a husk by your scandal, claiming madness, real or feigned. Parliament changes the law to execute her. Madness, no defense. Some say she went quietly. Others say she screamed for, and, as the axe fell, your fall sent tremors through everyone near you, a domino collapse of ambition and shame. Yet, as the court moves on, your story shifts from punishment to spectacle. People whisper of romance, tragedy, your grace under fire. Records stay brutal, referring to you as the late queen, a problem solved. But in people's minds, you become a legend. A brooch at auction is said to be yours. A mirror reflects your face by candlelight. A tower corridor becomes Catherine's walk, where children dare each other to run in silence, testing for your ghost. A tale persists among tower wardens. A young guard heard slippered footsteps past midnight, saw a figure, pale gown, red hair, no face, vanish. He resigned the next day, never returning. Your legacy lies in questions. What if Henry had forgiven you? If Culpeper had stayed away? If someone had guided you instead of using you? You were a child with a crown in a ruthless machine. Your memory persists, leaking into document margins, pauses in other stories, regrets no one dared name. You weren't meant to be remembered, but people do. In whispers after dark, when someone asks, do you know about Catherine Howard? Your death feels wrong, not for grand conspiracies like in Boleyn's, but because you were too young, too foolish, too alive. You're no monument in Westminster, but a living ghost in English culture, a symbol of what happens when a woman is punished for being herself. Henry, who called you his rose without a thorn, turned away when your petals weren't pristine. Yet you live in his wake, not his shadow. Historians dedicate careers to you, writing papers like Catherine Howard, misunderstood queen or teenage pawn, sifting through records, rumors, and questionable portraits. Some cast you as a tragic victim of a patriarchal world. Others see complexity. Maybe you knew the risks, played a dangerous game, and lost. Romantics frame you and Culpeper as star-crossed lovers. But love story or not, you're dead by 19. On stage, you sing. On screen, you cry. In novels, you stare through frostbitten windows as history closes in. Some authors give you happy endings, escaping with Culpeper, outliving Henry. In a musical, you're a pop star among Henry's wives, singing not as a cautionary tale, but as someone real, demanding, don't paint me as victim or villain. I was here. Audiences roar because they feel it. The tower leans into your story. Guides linger on your name, telling of your desperate run to the chapel, your ghost in white or red. Some call it theater. Others swear they've heard or seen you. Even the royal family subtly acknowledges you. An exhibit at Hampton Court shows your letters, your signature sketch, gowns from your era. You're no secret, just a scar, proof of survival, if only of truth. Your life boils down to moments, flirtations, downfall, final words, but they're enough. In every retelling, someone sees you clearer. The girl who laughed too loudly, loved too freely, expected to know better in a world that never taught her how. Henry's version of you died with him, but yours unfolds in art, song, quiet moments when someone reads your letter and thinks, she sounds like me. You appear in books for young readers, explaining how you were punished for being real. Artists paint you with strong brows, clear eyes, lips that know, giving you faces Tudor portraiture denied. Your ambiguous image is freedom, letting you be beautiful, fierce, devastated, blood-stained, blooming. The Haunted Gallery at Hampton Court is yours. Tourists walk slowly, cameras raised, hoping for a glimpse. The story: you ran barefoot, shrieking for Henry's mercy, banging on chapel doors before guards dragged you back, screams echoing. Some call it nonsense. Others swear it's documented. Your ghost runs, a blur of red, crying for mercy that never comes. Unlike in Bullen's stoic spirit or Jane Grey's quiet one, you're restless, still trying to be heard. The hallway's light falls wrong, the air colder. Skeptics call it a draft, others something older. You're woven into the palace's fabric, not stone but atmosphere. You're fiction-ready, complex, a teenage queen with secrets and desires. Modern retellings paint you as clever, angry, heartbroken, brave. People stop asking if you deserved it and ask why it happened. You're no caricature, but a person, your laughter and mistakes recognizable. Your story touches the raw nerve of double standards. Charm as manipulation, desire as crime, visibility as blame. Your ghost isn't a figure, but an echo of silence after a story ends too soon. Your classroom topic: a lyric, a Pinterest board of period dresses. Feminists see you as a casualty of patriarchal machinery. Romantics, a tragic muse. Teenagers, a girl like them. Your final words: I'd die a queen, but I would rather die the wife of Culpepper. Maybe legend, but they're powerful, giving you a voice Henry never intended. It breaks the tower's silence, seeping into classrooms, novels, stage lights, reminding people you mattered. Henry's court turned you from treasure to traitor when you loved Culpepper. Not because you betrayed the throne, but because you reflected Henry's shame. The pre-contract with Derham, a murky legal issue, could have invalidated your marriage, making adultery impossible, but nuance didn't matter. You were damaged goods, and Tudor England discarded you. Scholars now see a teenager caught in a net, her mistakes magnified, unprotected, unbelieved, unspared. Your fellow queen's stories differ. And Bullen was a political lioness, Jane Seymour a dutiful saint, and of Clevy's a lucky survivor, Catherine Parr a careful navigator. You, the youngest, loved wrong and died for it. The more a woman loved, the more she lost. You dared to have desires, to be loved genuinely. And that terrified a court where Henry needed a mirror, not a real woman. Your execution chilled the court. Daughters taught to be quiet, letters guarded, risks avoided. You're a case study in power's tension, a girl too vibrant for an aging king's narrative. Now, you're spoken of with empathy. Teachers linger on your chaotic childhood at Lambeth, your lack of guidance. You're not just the cheating queen, but a complex tragedy, a symbol of injustice for girls blamed for being wanted. Your story bends history, revealing what was missed. You're no longer Henry's footnote, but a narrative reclaimed, a signal to look closer, ask better questions, listen to the silenced. Your legacy is a mirror. How do we treat girls like you now? Do we blame, silence, demand perfection? Or do we learn, listen, remember? Every retelling chips away at your silence, honoring the right to be. You weren't perfect, just young, full of emotions you couldn't name. We remember you not for your death, but for your life, too much for a world that demanded less. Your name circles like a whisperer, a teen queen who dared to be human, loved too loudly, and became a beginning, a seed planted in stone, growing louder with every story told.